Saturday. Going to learn about data analytics, right? All right. So first of all, thank you for that introduction, Tushar. So I'll be the mentor for today's meeting. My name is Nitish Makam Shetty. Now I've been a software developer for the past 7 years, and specifically in the field of artificial intelligence and you can say machine learning. I've been working around in the past like three to 4 years. And currently, I'm working as a founder and the managing director of a tech startup right here in Bangalore called as GrowSharp Technologies. So, yes, so I think there was a glitch in my audio, right? So, prior to that, I worked as a okay. I think my audio is fine. Yes, all right. Right. So I have worked as a software development engineer. I worked as a data scientist, a data analyst, and now I've been worked as a chief CTO, a chief technology officer. Right. So through this all these roles, I have realized there's a lot of things in AI that we are doing it right this time, and how we can use generative AI for the current demographic, for the current working professionals, right? How they can make use of generative AI to dive into the data analysis tasks or whatever data analyst automations that you do, right? Okay. So first of all, let's establish a little bit of a base, right? So let me share my screen and we can get started. All right. Okay. So hopefully my screen is visible, right? Yes. Okay. So in this webinar, we are going to learn how to use Gen AI to create our own data analyst bot. Okay. Now there are some prerequisites. I wouldn't say like hard prerequisites like coding or anything, but the biggest prerequisite of this session is for you to understand or just know what data is, the general idea of data, how we work with data, and I hope a lot of people at least know how corporate data is maintained, Excel sheets, workbooks, spreadsheets, and many of these things you guys would have used, right? So we'll learn how to incorporate this workflows using Gen AI. Okay, right. Now for the webinar, we are going to follow this structure where we are first going to learn about Gen AI. Then we will learn how, in this context, that is data analytics, Gen AI can be used. Then we'll set up our environment. We'll see a couple of projects or demos that we have built and we have seen how Gen AI can be used. And finally, we'll create our own exam analyzer bot. Okay. Now this one, I'll be showing it to you in complete no code environment. I'm not going to write code explicitly, but I'm going to monitor how the code is being generated with our GenAI bots. And I will show you the entire structure, how to set it up, how to generate something, how to work with it, and prompt engineer the bot. Right? All right. So first, let's get into it. So first, let's establish the base about what GenAI is. Right now, all of you guys over here have used GenAI. Is there anyone who has not used AI at all? In the sense, you have not seen what ChatGPT is, you have not used Gemini, you have not used any of the hype that is going around in the last 2 years. Is there anyone in this chat who don't know any of these topics or have never heard of these? Right? Everyone heard of this, because if there are people who don't know what AI is and want to learn what it is from the complete base, that is also fine. That's not an issue. I just want to know, like, we know what we are talking about, right? In general, when I say LLMs or when I say AI, that is in the current scenario, it is mostly referring to what we have as a large language models right now. That is OpenAI's ChatGPT, you have Google's Gemini, you have DeepSeek R1, then you have Quen. So you have all of these AI that we call, that is large language models, that are dominating the industry right now, right? So I hope all of you guys have used them. You know what they are, and you're eager to learn how to incorporate them into your workflows, right? All right. Okay, then. Right. So first, let's talk about how we got here, or why is this such a big deal right now? Why wasn't this big 20 years back? So the answer for all of this is one very simple entity that we have been moving around since a long time, that is data, right? So let me use my annotator for this, right? So when we need to establish this base about how programming works and how people have coded for a long time, right? So for at least I would say 50 years, we followed one simple way of programming, that is rule-based programming. Okay, where we set some things, we set some rules like if you get A, give me B, if you get C, give me D. So like that, we are setting exact rules to the computer because at the end of the day, the computer understands binary zeros and ones. We as humans speak many languages, like right now I'm speaking English with you guys, right? So there has to be something in between the human and the computer to understand English and to convert it into zeros and ones. So this is where all the programming languages are, right? Each and every programming language are nothing but translators between us and the machine. So when you see this, you start writing programs or code or all of these software that we call about, right? So they are nothing but rules. They're rules that are written so that when the computer looks at the rule and it looks at the input, it is going to follow that word to word. I would say character to character. There's not going to be any difference, right? So that is rule based programming. We did that for a very long time. It worked. It did everything for us till now that we have in the tech world that we are using and we are enjoying, right? But in between, there are some issues that we ran into with rule based programming, especially things that we ourselves cannot define, right? So there are things that if they are so big and so complex that our human minds cannot wrap around it, we cannot really we cannot really make computers to do that, right? So in between, we came up with a concept called as intelligence or artificial intelligence. So you can tell it in a very simple phrase, like if a system can learn and make a decision from what it has learned, it is said to be intelligent. Right now, when humans do it, we do that every day of our lives. We have to do it. That is how we live. Right? Animals also, for a level, they are intelligent. I wouldn't say they are anywhere close to us, but they are intelligent for a very good level. And now, when you see artificial intelligence, that means the same things that taking, learning something and performing based on what you learn. When you give that to a machine, it becomes artificial, or we call it machine intelligence. Right? So, this is the difference. Rule based means you're telling what to do exactly, and the computer is just following that. But in intelligent systems, you're not telling exactly what to do. Instead, what you're doing, you're giving them so many examples. Like, see, this is how we humans have done everything. Like, let's say for the past 50 years, whatever humans have lived our lives, we have collected data. There is so much social media data that we have collected, right? Especially sites like Facebook and YouTube, that we have collected so much data from that, that we could use this data to teach systems from example rather than direct rules, right? We just give an example like, look, follow us. It was like an internship where the computer just learnt everything. They just sat with the human, and one by one we fed so much data to the computer that the computer saw this data and figured out, okay, this is what humans are doing. Now I can do exactly similar to what they're doing, because at the end of the day, what intelligence we are right now, they're not generating new things. Right? Nothing is being generated, nothing is being innovated by AI or LLMs or ChatGPT is not going to give you anything new. Instead, it is going to give you a overall, collection of what we humans have done till now. We have fed it so much data that it is mimicking us. That's it, right? So when you see this much, and even though it feels like small, when you talk it like that, it's just mimicking us, but it is able to produce such good responses that you feel this is magic. Right? When you see, when you get started with an LLM, if you haven't used it yet, and if you start suddenly using it and you feel like this is a person, you will feel like this is a human sitting behind the other end, and they're giving you response for whatever you have talked. But how is this a concept where you're not explicitly programming for it to do these things, but it is able to generate this? So the answer for that is simple: data and mathematics. Okay, so you when you see in a programmer's perspective, when you see all the machine learning models or all the tools that we are using in Python and programming, one thing a general statistician will realize that we used to do the same thing for 100 years, right? That nothing is new. When I say nothing, I mean theoretical part, nothing is new. We have done the same thing for 100 years, but now we have very strong hardware to do it faster, right? We have good graphic power, we have in compute power, we have like from Nvidia graphic cards, and they have improved so much, right? So we have so much compute power right now that what we were doing in pen and paper 50 years ago, we can do it right now using computers. So this thing that we're doing is statistical methods. right? So all of the methods that you might have learned in statistics, that is your general descriptive statistics, inferential statistics, your hypothesis testing, all of this statistical method as a data analyst or anyone in stats or even, accounts backgrounds, they would have learned this better than programmers. That is why we see in the industry of AI, you see people not just from programming, because when you completely break down software and you see it, getting the logic is more important than writing code, because writing code is nothing more than a language. You can learn a language in 30 days, right? It's not that hard, like you have to sit there and think too much. Understanding what to tell is the problem, not telling the exact thing, right? So understanding what to tell is where the logic stays. So as people coming from non-tech backgrounds, right, I hope there is a mix of people over here, even in this uh, webinar that we have too, right? I hope there are there people over here who have never touched programming, right? So I hope there are people who have done programming too, who have used Python, who have used Java, who have used C++ and all of these languages, and have seen how programs are written, how softwares are written. And then the other side of people who have never done programming, who have never touched programming languages, but they have the logic from statistics, right? So this is the requirement that I was talking about. You need to know what data is, you need to understand how to work with data, and most importantly, you need to have the logic of working with data. Okay, so a good mathematical strength and logical strength is the most important thing for getting into AI right now. Because learning, as I said, programming is not that big of a hurdle. You can get better at programming in 30 days. Learning Python is not an issue, right? So when we got there, we saw that there's so much statistics that we humans are using. So all of this statistics, let's start, automating it. So people started, instead of telling rules, instead of telling the computer prior, like if I give A, give me B, if I give C, give me D. This is rule based programming. Now what we did, we told the computer that whenever I want B, I will give you A. Whenever I want D, I will give you C. Like that, we gave like 10 million to billions of records like this. Okay. So instead of writing this simple thing, it sounds simple over here, but the concept over here is the computer has to understand from experience, understand from the data rather than rules like this, right? So we gave the opposite. We gave, when I give this input, I want this output. When I give this input, I want this output. Now we gave too much data like this and we trained the computer. Okay, so after training the computer on specific things, now the computer is able to give us back what the person has done. Like what the person has trained me, they're able to show it back, they're able to mimic it back. So that is what artificial intelligence is. Okay, so this is the base of AI and how it all works. Now, after AI, even AI is not new. This concept of machine learning, that is also not new. That has been around for at least 1960, 1970s. But the reason why it couldn't be popular is because we did not have data back then. If you go to 1970 and if you tell someone, find me a picture of 10 cats, you know how tough it was. You cannot get picture of 10 cats just like this. And now you can go to Google and you can probably get 10,000 pictures of cats. It's that easy right now for data, right? So that's the biggest reason why AI is becoming so big, why data science is becoming so big, is because we have so much data right now. We can play around with it. We can understand it much better, right? So we put all the statistics that we as humans we were using into computer science, and then in between, one very important discovery was there in this field, that is called as transformers. Okay, so I guess around like 2017 or 2016 there was a research paper called as attention is all you need. So this showed one very strong topic of human language. It showed that when we humans communicate, the words that we use, right, they have different meanings. Even though the word letters might be same, the word might be same, but the meaning difference, there's a difference when the word is in one place also, right? So this concept they called it as attention. So if a computer has to understand a sentence, before we used to just convert the sentence into numbers and just give it to the computer, save it. But now what we are doing a concept called as encoding. Instead of just converting a word into a number, we are also putting in information about the word, about its meaning, how, what context it will be used, different kinds of forms of grammar, its verbs, everything we are encoding. We are converting it to numbers and we are attaching with the word. Okay. So we're attaching attention with each and every word. So by using this logic, Now computers are able to understand sentences. They're not just understanding it as a parrot, right? Like if you know the relationship between, when I say a parrot, parrot doesn't understand what it has to tell. It just repeats it back. Right? That's the training. When you train a parrot for talking, if you tell something, it'll repeat it, but that doesn't mean it's understanding what we are telling. It doesn't understand that, right? So computer used to do that for a long time. It did not understand anything. Whatever you tell, it will give it back. But with transformers, we made computers understand this thing by adding more data, by adding something called as attention, adding more numbers, right? So now computers can understand words. They don't just see it as numbers anymore. They can understand. Because they can understand, we can form sentences right now. So instead of training like this, B is equal to A, simple things, we started training on words. We took entire human culture that we had for the past like 50 years where we started using internet, right? So all of the things that we have in the internet, the data that we gathered, we took all of it and we gave it to computers with transformers. So now all this text computers are understanding, they're saving, and now just because they've understood, they can generate it, right? So you guys would have heard in your childhoods, like when your teachers would have told, don't by heart anything, understand it. So there is a reason why they would have told that. Because if you understand, you can make your own version of the answer. That's what right now AI is doing. Right now, there is a big difference. It is not understanding in the way humans understand because we understand too many things. AI is understanding in the sense it is understanding the numbers behind these words. That's it. Okay. So let's say there is a simplification we'll do. Okay, let's say this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are teaching the AI 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 like 10 million times. Next time, if you give 2, 3, 4, AI will tell, okay, most probably it is 5 after that. Right. So this is what ChatGPT is doing right now. It is taking all your words, it is seeing its data, it is its database, which has like billions of words, and it is figuring out, it is doing the place where your word fits the most better, and it is giving you the next word in that same sentence. Right. So that is a simplification of what transformers is doing. Okay. So by using these concepts, we approached or we came up to the concept of generative AI. So now we are able to generate new things rather than just understanding. Okay. So transformers is very important invention or technology to enable Gen AI. So with generative AI, you have AI that is already pre-trained on whatever humans have done, it is pre-trained. New thing you're giving, prompt we call it. Okay. The new thing that you're giving as a prompt, it is able to give us back an answer based on whatever we have pre-trained it. Okay. So that is why there is a word called as GPT. Now GPT is different from Chat GPT. Okay. Chat GPT is the product. GPT is the technology. So GPT means generative pre-trained transformer. Means it is trained, pre-trained on what we humans data is there. So if you pre-train it so much, it can generate things similar to what you have trained. Okay. So that's the concept of Gen AI and where we are right now, right? There are more things in this that we will dive deeper in an actual class, but this is what is mostly required to understand how to use Gen AI. Because the most important part over here in Gen AI is understanding that you are not talking to a human, right? You're talking to a machine that is only trained on mathematical probabilities. It does not have actual intelligence. It is mimicking intelligence. So when you are in this situation, it becomes a skill. As a human, you should have the skill to talk properly with this AI. So that is what we call as prompt engineering. Okay, we'll come to that in a second. Okay, so now let's come to the context of where we are going to use Gen AI. That is data analytics. Okay, now data analytics is a very big field. In from the past hundreds of years, we are doing this from very long back. We are actually analyzing things. We don't have these words, maybe we don't have the tools. We are not even using the same things, but data analytics is there since we humans understood intelligence. Since we saw what is fire, we understood like what is data from there, right? So we have been saving these things when we are learning. So we learn from what we have seen. That is what when we are analyzing all these things, right? So it's there from a very long time. So we can easily visualize data analytics in these three things: engineer, analyze, visualize. Okay. So this is what a data analytics workflow usually will be. You have some data, you process it, means you engineer it, you change some things. Maybe there are names in first name, last name, you join them as full name. This is an example, right? So all of these things are called as engineering because you see, data that you use is going to be collected in real life. right? So when you collect data in real life, it is prone to errors. There is a lot of errors in data that you have collected in real life. That's why if you would have been in the industry 2 years ago, there was a very big requirement of one specific role, that is data engineers or data pre-processing experts. So these people did not even touch machine learning, but their work was to collect data, make it better, solve all the issues, because there is a lot of issues. It will not be in the right format, there will be missing data, right? So there'll be a lot of problems in data. So we called a job role called as data engineer. It is still very famous today, but prior to 2 years it was the only role available for all the machine learning enthusiasts to get into data engineer, because it was such a big requirement. We have so much data in the world that we did not think while collecting. We thought, okay, we're just collecting, we'll use it for reports and analyzing later on. But when people learned that this you can use to train AI, this engineering became much better, right? We started using tools to clean this data. We have many tools right now that can engineer data itself. We have cleaning tools like some libraries. If you know Python programming, you would have heard some libraries inside there that are used to clean tools. We can scale data, we clean data, we add missing values. Like, there are many scenarios where as a company, when we have done data analytics for large data sets, okay, data sets in the scale of at least like 30 to 40, we have seen a data set 25 million rows. In that, there usually is like 10,000 rows missing. So you have to have statistics over here, where you guys have college mathematics. You guys should have heard of this, like mean, median, mode, these things that we use to fill in this missing data. And so this is as simple as data engineering, where you clean the data, you put it in the right format that is required by your analyst, and you give it to them. Okay, so this is one big part of data analytics. This is a very tedious process. Usually, there is things that you have to keep looking, checking, and it's a trial and error process. Okay, so this is the first part of data analytics. Then we have analyzing data. So analyzing, it's not that easy to submit in one word. In the sense, you need to have your logic. You need to understand what is the goal you want to achieve. That is the very important part of every Gen A and data analyst or any software engineer in general forgets, that the logic or the business logic that you are solving, that is very important. So that's the same thing analysis can come from. Okay, so analyzing means after you've engineered, after you have the data set ready for you, that is where you use statistical concepts. Maybe let it be regression, or you're using some classification techniques. You're using trees, you're using binary trees. So all of these things that you might have heard if you're in machine learning. So these are statistical methods that you can use to analyze data, find answers from this data. Okay, so after analysis, now you have to display this, right? So displaying results is again a different area. So this is where visualization comes in. So all of you guys have seen in college these graphs you would have made, like pie charts, bar charts, histograms. So all of these are very important for visualization. Okay, now, these three things, I would call these three individual things, have become very big. It's its own career paths as that for a data analyst. There are specific data visualization experts right now who just use Python libraries to get a data and show it to you. It's a very important concept, right? Because one thing a lot of people getting into data analytics, if they're from tech, usually I've seen this mistake they do is like they feel all their higher ups will be tech people, which is never the case, right? Where as a data analyst, you should understand one thing, that almost every company requires data analytics. Every company deals with money, right? Where there is money, there is mathematics. Where there is mathematics, there is data. So every company requires a data analyst. So when we see this requirement where data analytics, especially regarding to finance and storage and statistics, it's going to be, you're going to be talking with the top level of companies, right? So because of this, it is very important for you to show visualizations, to make graphs. Okay, so when we have data analysts in our company right now, we have a couple of data analysts who take our data from colleges, right? So our company makes ERP panels for colleges. So when they take this data from colleges, college, you cannot show your college principals or directors a simple number, a written number from your command language. They will tell, what is this, I don't want, right? So whenever we get the data, we have a team of data visualization experts who are going to sit and make bar charts about how their data is visualized, what are the problems in their data, where they have to fix, Right? So all of these things are a very important aspect of data analytics. Engineer, analyze, visualize. These three things are individual. Sometimes there are, more things involved in here. You have to pre-process, you have to make decisions, you have to re-engineer. Many things are there if you dive deeper. Right? But we are giving a simplified overview. I'm showing you about what you have to do in data analytics. Okay. Now, I have not spoken about any specific tools till now. We are not going deeper into the exact implementation of these concepts. We are just talking about how the theory behind what you have to do exists. Okay. Right. Now, in here, is there people who have used any specific data analytics tools, like specialized data analytics tool? I don't want to see Excel because almost everyone uses Excel, right? Because there are specialized data analytics tools, let's say Tableau or Power BI. Is there anyone over here you have used Tableau or Power BI? Yes, I get one. Okay, my chat is minimized. Let me just open it. Yes. So I see chat. There are people who have used Power BI and Tableau. That is very good, right? Now, Power BI especially is a very strong tool which allows you to automate. There are a lot of triggers you can set up, especially with the current automation tech and with Microsoft's. I think Power Automate. You can set up many things in Power BI. We as a company, even we use Power BI for our analytics data, our client visualizations. Right? We use Power BI for a lot of things. Now, both of these tools, Power BI and Tableau, they are not tech. They're, I wouldn't call them programming. Right? You're not creating code over there, but you still need to learn how to use them. They have learning curves, especially Tableau. Tableau is a very big software. It first of all, it is costly, right? You're not going to get a license simply directly to sit there and program in Tableau. But even after getting a license, it is a big, complex, and very strong software where you can go wrong very easily in Tableau, more than Power BI, right? So these softwares are industry standards. They are very good in what they do. But there is one thing that can do everything that these tools can do. That is Python. Right? For programmers, Python was always the tool for doing data analytics. For non-programmers, we have many different things like Excel. Very basic one, Excel. Almost everyone uses it. And why Excel is so important in this field is like you can see companies, right? Corporate companies. Almost every company uses Excel. If they don't use Excel, they use a competitor for Excel, like Google Sheets, or something else. But the concept behind is all same. Everyone uses a single concept of saving data, that is tabular formats, right? Where you create data in rows and columns. And for programmers, this is also there. If you see in programming, there is a concept of SQL, where there are relational databases. There is a very big similarity between how workbooks or spreadsheets work and how SQL tables work. It's very close. It's very similar, right? So this patterns exist in our world, how we have seen how companies have adopted spreadsheets. So when you see that, Python became good over here because of its integrations to all of these tools. You can have a Python integration in Power BI, you can have Python integration in Excel. It can understand all of these tools separately, right? Now, whatever you can do with Power BI and Tableau, you can do it. So if you know Python, you can do it much better. You can control it much better. But obviously, it is more complex. It is not that simple, right? Learning Tableau, importing your data, and making a visualization will hardly take you like 20 minutes. But doing that in Python might take you hours, right? So that was the biggest issue. Everyone who knows Python is too complex to do simple tasks. People who are doing Power BI and Tableau need to learn specific tools. So how do you bridge this gap in between, where no matter which direction you're going, you have to learn something that you cannot come to the other direction, right? So this is where Gen AI comes in. So Python become being such a beginner friendly language is very good, not just for us, but for AI too. Because now LLMs don't have to worry about memory. That if you're a programmer who has heard about programming languages, why people go into Python? Simply because of its dynamic memory, where as a programmer, you're not worried about how things going on inside. You just write your variables and Python will take care of how to do it. Right. So this was a big, strong field of Python. Think of the same thing for LLM. LLM also doesn't have to understand about how memory management works, about how typing works. Because if if language is easy enough for humans also, it's the same thing is for LLMs also. It's a Python become a very strong tool where not just humans, the LLMs could use Python, generate Python code and run Python code very good. LLMs became good. They were trained, they were specially trained for running Python code, generating Python code, right? So Python became this central topic which can, bridge the gap between all three industries together. Okay, so let me just clear this. So in that aspect, when we are going to set up our environment for doing our task today, there are some things that I want to talk about. First thing I already told you, that is Python, right? Now we are not going to write Python code specifically, but our computer needs to still run Python code that is generated by our AI. So for that, we need a specific tool program called, not a program, I would say just a tool called as Python interpreter. Okay. So you need to download Python's interpreter and install in a system. It's a very common, fairly simple technique. I would hope everyone can just, there are too many YouTube videos how to do it. So watch a YouTube video. Most of the time for Windows users, there is one thing you have to keep in mind, that is adding your path. But other than that, it is a simple process where you can complete Python setup. Okay. Now after Python, there is another tool that, let me just open my browser and I'll show it to you, called Windsurf. Okay. Now Windsurf is the editor we will be using today. I think my screen is not being shared. Let me just share my complete screen. Yes. All right. So the editor or the IDE for developers, you would have heard about this word called IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Okay. So IDE means a software which will help you, the entire environment development. It will take care from editing code to running code to file management. It does all of these things. Okay. So Windsurf is an IDE. It is an editor that has the capabilities of integrating directly with GenAI. So there are again parts in this that will come later on. What are these different parts, LLMs, everything. But right now, all you have to understand is, if you have used editors like Visual Studio Code, right? Windsurf is very similar and close to VS Code. So it is a program that you have to install your systems, and it I want everyone to install the trial version because this is a paid software. You have a trial version, I guess, like 14 days, I believe, once you install. But after that, it is going to be $15 per month payment. Okay, so this is one of the industry standards. There are many ways you can remove this payment. You can do these things differently if you know how to set everything up. But I don't want to get into development, so we are going to go with a tool right now. Okay, so Windsurf editor. Now the first thing you will get is Windsurf. After Windsurf, Windsurf works in its models. And if you see its pricing, you will see over here in the free tier, you have 50 premium model user prompts. Means you can ask 50 different projects or questions for a single project, right? So this is good enough for all the, for learning everything, for ready for, making at least 10 to 15 projects. This is very good. Now after that, if you still want to use AI to generate, you can always go for the paid version, right? But I'll show you later on how to kind of do it semi-free, but it's still, no matter where you go, you're still paying for something or the other. Okay, because that is one thing you have to keep in mind about AI in the current situation we are in, where if you want to do anything in AI, you need graphic power, you need compute power, especially from graphic cards, right? So the hardware requirement is there, and it is a costly requirement. If you don't have that hardware requirement, the only choice that you have is to take a cloud provider like AWS. AWS has a feature called as Bedrock, okay, service, where you can use any model that AWS will run it for you. You just pay for the compute, or you can use APIs from OpenAI gives ChatGPT APIs. You have Claude, which is a good, very strong industry like power right now. Claude, Anthropic's Claude, and then you have Gemini from Google and Grok from Twitter. So you have all of these, or DeepSeek's R1, which is a very cheap solution for people who are looking into running large scale apps, right? Even as a company in India right now, there is a company which our company uses in a backend provider called as Shakti. So this company It's like a wrapper for deep sea carbon. So if you're a startup, you can apply for their credits, I guess, and you'll get at least 200 to 300 hours of free credit usage. That's a very good thing, right, for startups to make their products and understand, because 200 to 300 credits is not simple. It's not simple cheap for a GPU like R1, the top model of R1, not the base models, the top end variants. Okay, so you can use all of those models either in the cloud, or if you have the graphic cards, if you have the hardware, if you have a system capable of running, you can download a lot of open source models. I think this is also has been hyped in the last like couple of 2 3 months, where open source models are very strong, right? So you can download a tool called Olama. Okay, okay, it's not the search. So if you see Olama, it is a tool made by Facebook. So where whichever models, large language models, they can become open source. And it's a 27 billion parameter version of Gemma 3. It requires 17 GB of memory. This is not hard disk. It requires 17 GB of VRAM of memory in your graphic card. So you're not going to run this in a normal graphic card at all, right? So that's the reason. You can visit Olama once and you can check all the models that if you want you can download for free and run it in your hardware. Okay. So there's a little bit of setup for this, where you have to install things, you have to install how you have to know how the server behind it works, how you can request for the API, but it is fairly simple. Okay. The problem is not learning it. The problem is having the power, having the graphic card required to run it. So either you pay for cloud compute that is per usage, or you buy the graphic card and you pay once, a hefty amount once, and you run everything on your system. Okay. Both are two models that you can run AI today. Okay. So for our editor Windsurf, we are going to go with cloud. We are in Windsurf in itself. In the free version, it comes with a lot of features from using cloud models like Claude Anthropic. It has access to, I think, 3.5 Sonnet and GPT 4o. So you have 50 free of both of those. Okay. All right. Okay. That is my. The chat is popping up, but it is not showing. Yes. Uh, Graphic card. You see, for running a model that is capable of answering back to you like ChatGPT, you need a NVIDIA A200, which is top of the line graphic card, which is not available for individuals. You need to be a company to get it from there, right? And AMD, actually, AMD is possible, but right now the tech works very good in NVIDIA because of one uh, framework called as CUDA. Okay, so NVIDIA created a framework called as CUDA. This CUDA framework is what allows your AI to use the power in your graphic card. Now, AMD also has a framework, but it is not as popular. Because of CUDA, NVIDIA is very popular, and since mainly because of OpenAI, because of ChatGPT, they use NVIDIA in a very big scale. So they made it very famous, like how you can use NVIDIA power, like graphic card power for your AI. That's why NVIDIA is making way too much money right now because of simply because of AI, right? But if you are thinking of doing it yourself, you will be requiring a lot of money. And in India, I will directly tell, like, you require at least a graphic card that is in the level of Jetson, NVIDIA Jetson, with the lowest graphic card. And that itself will cost you around like 2.5 to 3 lakh, just the graphic card. Setting up a server with that, setting up your electricity bills, everything is way too much for you to think of running this yourself, unless you are a company. For individuals, it makes no sense, right? Because how much is $15? $15, even if you charge at 100 rupees, 1,500 bucks. 1,500 per month is way cheaper than paying like 5 to 6 lakh upfront for something that you might not completely do. So that is the reason. I know I'm saying all of this, but that is the reason AWS is making so much money, and how you can do cloud compute, because this is new, right? As a developer and a people who has been in this industry for a long time, there was never a situation where we can tell it is not going to run in my system because my system is not powerful. It was never like that. Almost anything you create in programming can run in our laptops, in very basic laptops. Only gaming required strength, and gaming or video required strength. But now AI is so powerful that normal hardware is not enough. You cannot run things with just a CPU. You need good graphic cards, right, to just run your models. Okay. So we are going to go with cloud computing. We are going to use online GPUs, cloud GPUs, and we are going to get our this thing. Okay, compute levels. Now, apart from this, you also need to understand some concepts in statistics and maths. Now, I am not going to go deeper into what they are because there's a lot of things in statistics. The general concepts of how charts work, of what you require, of aggregating data, of let's say grouping data, of pivot tables, of understanding how your simple measures, that is mean, median, mode, you might need to clean data sometimes, right? So we use, in machine learning, we use these three measures to clean, and then you might learn to scale. So these are all things that are not required at once at the starting, but having a strong grasp in statistics is more important than learning about code, because as I told, code can be generated. AI can generate Python code, so if you as a human know the logic of what you want to do, AI can generate the entire application for you. Knowing the logic is the most important part in today's time. Okay, so that logic involves statistics. You need to know the workflow, you need to map out everything. Like, if you, let's take an example, you want to build a car, right? If you want to make a car, you're going to sit there alone and try to build it. That's never going to work. Instead, what you're going to do, you're going to hire someone to make the tire. You're going to get the paint from someone. So all of this is going to be from others, but that doesn't mean there is no use of the company which is making the car, right? The companies that make the car, they're going to give the actual idea of how it has to be assembled, how it has to be produced. So this is where a human is at this point in programming, where if a human has a good idea, has a good workflow, has a good logic, everything else can be written by AI. Okay, that is the most important part right now. Okay, now obviously I'm not telling that you can use AI and make a Facebook tomorrow. That is not going to happen because there is way too much architecture involved over here, not just pure code. You need to know the software architecture as a SRE, what an SRE does usually. So you to know deployment, how cloud works. There's a lot of technical things other than cloud that you have, other than code, that you have to know to make something complex, right? So we're seeing in the context of data analytics, where if you know statistics and maths, you can make any kind of data analyst bot that uses any data that you have to get you results and draw charts for you automatically. Okay, and then finally we will need a cloud account. Now, you don't need a cloud account for everything. Windsurf has a cloud credits inside, but what you create with Windsurf, in order to run that, you still need cloud accounts, right? So for that, what I'm going to use today is Google's Gemini. Okay, now I want you guys to look around this a bit because Gemini offers a lot of free tiers for developers. Okay, so where is our I think it's AI Studio. AI Studio, yes, AI Studio Google. So if you head over to Google AI Studio and get your API key from there. Okay, so there is a lot of good free tier available in this, so you don't have to pay unless you are using way too much. But if you get your API key, you can use this API key to set up everything. Okay, now I have an API key with me. Later on, I will plug into the application that we are going to make and we are going to complete it. All right. Okay. Right. So we have our LLM, we have a cloud account, we know the workflow of what we want to do, and we have Windsurf and Python. So this is the complete environment that we will need to create our data analyst bots or tools without writing code. Okay. All right. Now let's start with some of the ideas that we have. Now, this is not the final version that we are going to build. This is something I want to show you that how capable Gen AI is today and what it can do. Right. Now here again, there is code in this. There is code we have written. There is little bit of backend code and front ends we have created, but we are not going to worry about that. We are not going to worry about how the code works in this. Instead, what we have to worry about is the flow of what happens, right? So, what is AI capable of? If you ask me that question right now today, one very important thing AI is capable of is action and intent extraction. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's say there is a big apartment blocks, right? Like there's with many, like hundreds of houses inside. There is something like that. There are multiple buildings. There is A block, B block, C block, like this. Okay, so there are many apartment blocks. Now inside this there are also many houses. Somehow they want to make an automation system which is connecting these houses to service providers, like say plumbers, okay, and electricians. Now this is not online. I'm not talking about something online where you book a plumber or something. No, everything is inside. The plumber who's inside your apartment, they have to fix an issue. How do you tell them there is an issue, right? So we can build a system that is going to work as a chatbot. Now, You can do this simple without using AI also, where you can just press a button telling there is a water issue. But we are going to use a intelligent system that doesn't have to use any of this buttons or UI. So what we are going to build is a simple question answer, where any user, any apartment person who is staying in this apartment can write a question, whatever it is, right? They can tell like today there is water was too harsh or something, whatever question they want. AI is going to classify it. It is going to understand the intent behind this query. It is going to figure out that this person has a complaint in electricity, or this person has a complaint in water. So like this, it is going to figure out, and it is going to assign that complaint to the specific team. Okay. So if I take this service and I message it like from my apartment, I open this app and I message like today there is no water, it is going to send we can build it like the final system. You can add WhatsApp and everything else. But what the overall logic is, the tenant sends a message. AI is going to figure out the intent of that message and give it to the proper service provider. And as a data analyst bot, after this, right, this is the main job. Now, analysis on top of this is going to also figure out or extract all the past things. How many like apartments have had problems? Which apartments has so many problems in one category? Like if there is an apartment where water problems are too many, it is going to figure that out. If there's an apartment where electricity many problems, it is going to give that. Then it is going to give, let's say, how many issues are remaining, how many service issues are remaining, and how many are done. So all of this is metric tracking. So this is analysis we are doing in this app. Okay. So we are using AI in multiple places. First place is getting the question, extracting the intent, and giving it to the provider. If there is a water issue, we are sending a message to the plumber that look, this apartment has a water issue. Complete automated system. Okay. Now, there is a UI for this which I wanted to show, but as of now, the UI is down. Let me just check if the UI is still working. If not, we'll show in the backend, not an issue. Okay. So it is actually running in my local system. Okay. So we'll just try this once. Okay. Let me exit all these drawings. All drawings. Okay. Right. Okay, yes, the UI is a little bit error, so never mind. Let's see a demo of this in the backend. So I'm going to show you a app built with Windsurf and built using complete no-code GenAI tools that can do all of this for us. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you a backend demo where I will run this in a prompt. Okay, so I'll show this over here. I'm going to give a message. It is going to take that message and tell me one word answer, whether this message is regarding water or electricity or rent or something else. And then it is going to save it in the database and give me data analytics of how many reports have happened and the metrics which I told, right? How many remaining, how many have happened, which apartment has many things like that. Okay. So I thought we could show in the front end, but never mind. We can just see the actual working right now. Okay. So let me increase this a bit. Okay. So let's execute a script called as main.py. So here, first thing is it is going to load our Gemini chatbot, and it is going to, this is just an example for us. If you want, we can give these things. Okay, water is very slow, power keeps fluctuating. Can I get due date? All of these things. So let's enter a query right now. So assuming that I am the person sitting in an apartment and I have this thing with me. So I can run a query over here, right? So let's run a query as a tenant right now. Okay, so I can say let's take something that is far away. It should not include the word electricity or water. That word should not be there. Let's use something different. Let's use current. Okay, so we will say there is half current from yesterday morning needs to be fixed soon. So this is a message I'm sending to the AI. Okay. Now AI is going to take this message. It is going to figure out that this person has a complaint with electricity. Then it should, in the overall workflow, to send a WhatsApp message or maybe an SMS to the electrician that this apartment in this block has a problem. Go and fix it. And then it is going to save in the database for analytics. Okay. So let's run this. Now I'm using Gemini for this. And as you see, this issue appears to be of department electricity. Okay, now we're not going to run analytics yet. I just want to interrupt this. Let's run it once more. and we'll give a different issue so that you guys can see like what the how much the AI can talk. Right now, let me give something that is not regarding issues at all. Let me give something about payment over here. Like you can see one thing. Okay, so I have written over, can I get a due date? Similarly, I can ask like, can I get or let's talk about something completely irrelevant, right? So we can say, is the apartment on the last okay, last floor still vacant? So when I ask a question like this, it should not go to electrician or plumber, right? Instead, it should classify as none of these provided. It's a rent problem, so stay in the system itself. Okay, so this is what it is doing. Okay, so is this a simpler solution? Now, let's, if you have adding analytics to this, I have added simple analytics from my AI chatbot that could just figure out metrics of how many issues have happened, how many are tracked, and how many are remaining. Okay, now the issues right now, which I ran before, I haven't saved it, so this too won't be there. But this is going to run the same kind of analytics with my AI. It is going to take all the data present in my database, give it to the AI, get the answers, and show it to me over here. Okay, so as you can see, the apartment with the most number of water issues is this apartment. Apartment with the most number of electricity issues is this apartment. Total unresolved complaints 24, handled 22. So these two that we gave have gone into unresolved right now. So, and you see unhandled complaints, there is a water and a A506 complaint in this thing. So I did not code for any of this. There is no rule based programming done for any of this. None of this is saved. Okay, so every time AI is checking my database, it is figuring out like, okay, these many things are open, and it is giving me these answers. Okay, now building a UI for this and using is a separate thing. We that is a big project which I don't think AI should do right now, because front end development is a much more, designing, like better, not like such a dull field, I would say, where AI can do. Usually designing is something we humans have to do, is what we're good at. So I wouldn't recommend anyone to try to do UI generation or anything design with AI. It is going to, do little bit wrong things over there, where it is going to understand and what others have done, maybe not the use case, right? But AI is very good at this use case, generating backend code and generating Python data analytics code specifically for us to create the simple data analyst bots. Okay, all right. Now, this is the first use case. Now, if you guys have any query, we can just run it. Anyone in the chatbot, just give me some example, like whatever you think you are in an apartment and you want to ask. Let's test like anything very far away also. Let's test something like what my AI might take. Okay. Water is one word. If I tell water, it'll tell water. It's one simple word, right? I need a sentence that if a person as a human is putting the sentence, AI should think like, okay, is this water or is electricity? What it is? It has to think and give me one word answers, right? Okay, let's write this. Okay, I don't think what will be the dinner today will be classified, but let's just try that actually, Shubham. Okay, what will be the dinner today? I don't think this should be an answer for us. And as you see, it is coming. This issue appears of the department generic. It is not water, not electricity, not rent. It is generic. Means something that cannot be classified. Okay, so this is where, and I don't want to save this into analytics, so I'm going to exit it. So let's go for one more thing from here. Okay, let's see who is the chairman of society. Now I think this is again an other thing that is none of the three things, right? So it should usually tell generic. Let's try this one more. It will tell generic. Okay, because this is not an issue of water or electricity. I don't have this service, right? So for that reason, now I need to keep changing this. Okay. Yes. So all of you guys are giving me good answers, but this is not all. If I run all of this, any of this will come like generic, because this is not something. This is not water also. This is electricity also, right? Let's see this one. Water motor is not working, but I will not use the word water. That will be easy, right? We will remove the word water. We just say motor is not working and pressure is low. Okay, we'll see what AI can do. Pressure is very low. Okay. Now AI should understand that we are talking about water, right? So you see over here, it is understanding when I talk about a motor and when I talk about pressure, AI is smart enough to know that, okay, this usually comes in the department of water. Now, this is a very strong implementation of transformer tech, where depending on the words, It is adding extra attention to all of this. When there is motor, when there is pressure, when there is low, when there is not working, it is generally talking about water, right? So this is how you can get. Okay, all right. Now, yes, all of you guys have good options, but if I run any of this, right, it will just tell like generic, because this is not electricity. This is not electricity or water. Anything, my AI is built such a way that anything other than water and electricity, it will tell rent. Oh, sorry, it will tell generic. Means it should not do anything. If it is neither electricity not water, it should not do anything. Right? It cannot do whatever it wants. It cannot think by itself. It should not do anything. Okay. So if I enter any question like this, like is it allowed to keep pets in my apartment? That is not a service in the this thing. So if I enter this, it should tell generic. Okay, so as you see, rent. Okay, this is a issue. Like you see, my AI messed up over here. If I'm asking pets, it's selling rent. So this is one problem that we already saw. That's an AI. It is probabilistic answers. Okay, all right. So let's do one more thing. Devi, we'll run this thing. Water is overflowing in my terrace. This is actually simple because the word water is there, right? If water is there, then it's very simple for AI. Water is already there. I'll tell water. So let's give a tricky question right now. One trick. I'll just make something like because of power cut, water. Because no, we'll take the ulta thing. Okay, because of water leakage, there is a short circuit. Now think of a human. When which human will you send, right? If there is water leakage and short circuit has happened, whom should you send? Should you send an electrician or should you send a plumber? Usually you'll require both of them, right? But we have created a system which can only send message to one person. So we are going to check a electrician or or a plumber. And as you see, it's telling a water issue. So my AI is telling this belongs to the plumber, send the plumber. Okay. So as you see, this is what AIs are capable of right now. They can understand, but they cannot think. Based on the words you're giving, they can understand and figure out the most probable answer for this. Okay. So as you see, this is a very simple application that is going to give me all of these trackings, but I don't want to save any of this into the metrics. So I'm just clearing everything. Okay.
I have a doubt,
Right.
Sati.
Yes, Pranita, you can ask me.
Very nice to hear actually from you. And like whatever this 5 or 6 points is being displayed in this AI screen, AI CLR screen,
Hmm.
those are already predetermined in the back end. Like in the IDE, they are predetermined, or
The
in the
first five
Python
things you're seeing.
main.py.
No, those are examples I have given. This is nothing. This is not in the database anywhere. Okay. This is just
You have
examples like what
written
we
it.
can write about.
We have not seen you writing here it in the screen. So how they are displaying when you type main.py
Hmm.
examples?
This is my bot. This is right. This is hard coded directly. Okay. So when I run my project, I have hard coded in the print statements like show me this as examples.
Yeah, that is what
Okay.
I'm asking.
Hmm.
Like in the back end, in the
Hmm.
IDE, have you hard coded it?
Yes.
Have
Yes.
you given to the computer to
No. No.
understand?
This is not coming from the AI. AI is not thinking for any of this. Is hard coded directly in our code in the ID. It is coded. Okay. From here, from we start the query, then AI picks up from after enter the query.
In the WinServe
Hmm.
IDE setting?
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
Like how we do have some predetermined instructions given to the model, is
Hmm.
that like that you have given
Yes.
to WinServe
Exactly.
and you have linked
Yes.
it to generative AI? Actually,
Hmm.
sorry to disturb you. That
Yes, yes,
point
it's
I
okay.
want you to repeat it again. The
Hmm.
WinServe IDE is been linked or integrated to generative AI, right? Once this is
Hmm.
completed, if you have time, can you please repeat that once again at the end?
Yes, yes, sure. Now, after this demo of the project is done, we will actually do a complete walkthrough. We'll create our own data analyst bot using Windsurf. So we'll understand
Okay.
everything how it works there. Okay. But over here in the current doubt that you have, what you're seeing before enter your query, that is completely hard coded in your ID. I have given in my prompt, specifically I've given in the prompt while creating this application, like give me some examples on the screen so that I can show it when we are coding. So this is just a prompt. Okay.
So when
So
we
what
talk
we
other things like the dinner is ready, or
hmm, hmm,
there is some problem in the colony, fencing is not clean, or some aid is not coming. If
hmm.
we give those examples here, it will not display as answer, right?
It
Will
should. It will display an answer. but it is giving an answer that it is not trained on. Like if I ask a very generic question, that was one of here, right? Let's say what a lot of people were asking this question, like front gate security is not working. You see, it is not in the top part, right? But still,
Okay.
this is going as a prompt to my AI right now. My AI is taking this question. This is my AI is
Mhm.
not worried. It doesn't know any of this. Okay, so it is only taking this question and it is telling this is not in rent, this is not in water, this is not in electricity. So it is
Got it.
generic.
For any of the unrelated questions or prompts or the queries input we give, if it is not predetermined or the model is not trained,
Hmm.
it's going to give the generic or which is neutral.
Yes. Yes,
Only
he's
we
going to give
can do
generic as the answer.
that is hard coded user. Got it, got it.
Okay.
Yeah. And what kind of model is this, Sati? Can you please say?
So this is using Gemini. So this is a large language model that is for this bot that I'm showing you right now. This is at the back end using Google Gemini. Okay.
Google Gemini. What
Yes.
model? Like, this is your own model,
Flash.
right? You have generated it for you, or you have developed it for yourself.
No, no,
What?
no, no. I'm using Gemini 2.0 Flash. The LLM. The LLM behind the application is Gemini 2.0 Flash. Okay. So after that, the Python code which is using this application that I have generated using Windsurf. But the actual large language model that is taking my query, that is taking this query given over here, like front gate security is not responding. This query is given to Google. So Gemini specifically, Gemini takes this query, then gets the overall prompt like take this and tell me whether it is electricity or water, and then it gives the final answer. Okay.
God.
So I'll show you more about prompt engineering in the Windsurf that we are going to create later on in the topic in
Only
the bot.
companies can prepare models and they're going to put it in Kaggle.com, or individuals also can create
No,
models and
anyone
use it.
can create. I don't think it's a problem of people or companies. The problem is money, right? Because if
Okay.
you if you want to create chat GPT, it is not going to be an issue of complexity. It is not like they're intelligent or only smartness. It is not that.
Investment.
You don't have the data, right? You need
Got
billions of dollars to pay the people who have this data, purchase it from them legally, and then use it to create your bot. So since
okay.
everyone cannot afford to buy that much data, even if you have the code for it, you will not, your model is not going to be as good as the people who can buy that much data. So all this LLM, that race that is happening is based on who can buy better data. Okay.
Got it. Thank you so much, Sati.
Yes. Okay. That's good. People have doubts. So if you guys have any doubts regarding the industry we are in and how we are working, any of you guys can ask me. Okay. I'm more than happy to clear all of this
Yeah, you're
doubts.
directly getting into yesterday when you have yesterday also have participated and you have shown this artificial intelligence CLR command line interpret screen. But so many institutes,
Yes.
they are hesitating to show us the coding or the real world have the backend coding part. Like we have learned
Mhm.
printf and scanf, like C++, right? So that the
Yes.
real
Yes.
actual part, what are the how the models are developed, what actually the model is, how people are struggling, or how our Indians are working hard to develop some models, they are not
Mhm.
showing us actually. You have shown us
Yes.
yesterday, and I have been part of yesterday's
Thank
class
you
as
for
well,
that,
and today
Pranita.
also I'm so eager
Yes.
to learn so many things from you.
That's very good to hear. So I hope today you can learn about how data analytics can do the same thing like yesterday we learned about vibe coding, right? So
Yeah.
similar to yesterday, we're going to do a little bit of a different project today. That's it. But these concepts of where we are running the models in our backend. Why I'm showing this is because the main point of this entire tech is we're going no code. Right. So when we are going no code, the same concept should apply for people not writing code. You should be very good in your logic. So if you know how all of these parts combine, right, where you will execute this, because I am not writing code to make the program. Instead, I'm just executing it. So you should have that knowledge, at least like going to that place and executing it. Because what is inside, you don't have to know. Inside the code, you have Gen AI bot to generate that. But as a person who should know that logic, it is good if you understand everything around it. Because that's the reason I want to show the CLI bots. Okay. All right. All right then. So let's go ahead to our second project that I want to show you, which is a content creation pipeline. Okay. Now this is going to be another GenAI project. Now this is a double GenAI project which is doing two things. A simple content creation. Okay. Now, as a company, we have creative teams that are supposed that even for our company also we have a service for our clients also. So what our clients do, they have to put messages on festivals where there's festival happening. They need to put a message in their Instagram, in their Facebook, in their social media about, let's say, Diwali. They should put Happy Diwali, right? Now, writing Happy Diwali is fine, but what if they tell you later on, do the same thing for me in multiple languages? Now that is extra work. The same thing, but it's extra work, and you don't really require a human to do this. If a human can design one version, translating that and repurposing that into multiple things is what AI is very good at doing. Okay, so we're going to see other logic. So first, let's see the logic. Okay, so first thing, I'm going to give a string. A string is a simple sentence I will give that is in English. AI will give me three translations of it automatically. It will give. I have set it up to give me in Kannada, in Telugu, and in Hindi. Okay, so it will give me three translations. Then I have an other multimodal AI. Multimodal means things that can work with photos and videos. Okay, we are going to take this text, give it to our multimodal AI, and we are also going to give a photo. Let's assume that my creative team today gave me a photo saying for a college. It is written like, let's say, Happy Diwali. I have a photo like that. Okay, now I want to convert this, not the full photo, don't change anything in the photo, just take the text from that photo, translate it into Kannada, put it back, translate it to Telugu, put it back, translate it to Hindi, put it back, and then give me three photos of three different languages. Do not change any design. Okay, now a graphic designer can do this. They're going to take time and they can do this. But AI is good at doing this because we are not telling anything new. We are not telling think. We are not telling invent. We're telling exactly this is already done. Change it in this format. Okay. Then after this, again, we have added time series analytics to this, where it is going to batch it. Right. I have like, let's say I'm going to give right now for Happy Diwali. There's a batch. So you can give a name for this batch. And AI is going to track when I have done this work. Like today, there are 10 images generated. Tomorrow, there are 20 images generated. So AI can understand how much is my usage per day, how many different things I'm generating, and for what clients I'm generating. This is called as time series analytics. It's a concept in statistics more than tech. Okay, so we do this time series analytics to get the analytics of when things are happening, so we can better share things next time. We do this actually for our company. So we have a bigger version of this running in our company, where we analyze like per day, how many per month, and per week, how much we are using AI, how much we are generating photos, what is our demand, so that we can assume, or we can make the funds ready for next month. So that is where time series analytics comes in. Okay. So I'm going to show you again a simple CLI demo of doing this. So first, let's take the first part. I'll put a string. It is going to give me three versions of the string in Kannada, Telugu, and Hindi. Okay. Then we're going to copy the strings. We're going to put it in another AI where it'll do the second part. Take a photo, edit it, and give it back. Give three photos. From one photo, it should give us three photos. Okay. All right. So let me show you that. So that is, I just have to erase this. I think that is in a, I'll just move to a different folder over here. Okay. Right. Now I'm going to run another program. Again, this is called as main.py. Okay. Sorry. I did too much. Okay, sorry, I did it ulta. It is Python main.py, not main python.py. And this program is a similar bot. It is going to ask for a translation for me. So let me enter some string. Right, let me say happy. What's coming nearby? We'll say Republic Day. Okay, so happy Republic Day. It is supposed to give me back three versions of this string: one in Kannada, one in Telugu, and one in Hindi. Okay, now this might not look that good because in command line, this text is not going to stay that good. That's why it is not just that recognized. But usually, if you add an UI to this, a good web interface, and like you can use JavaScript, CSS, everything to do it. But as you see right now, our logic is done, right? So I'm giving a text in English, and it is going to give me three versions in Kannada, in three different languages. Now you guys will tell me, yes, you can do this in ChatGPT also. You can go to ChatGPT, copy paste over there, you'll get the answer. But why we are doing it like this is because now I can trigger more things from this, right? I have these three things. Now, let me go for my second bot. That is, I think, generate.py. And before this, let me show you like the photo that I'm going to use. Okay. Okay. Yes. So this is a photo I have. Now this is a template photo that our one of our college or our clients they use. It's called Mandara. It's a college. So don't worry about other things. It's a very simple photo right now. There is text in between over there. I've made it very easy for the AI actually. Okay. So there is text in between called as Happy Diwali. Now I am going to replace this text by different texts. I'm going to replace this by these three texts. Okay. So in order to do that, let me use my second AI. So let's run my second script. Okay, I don't think it is main.py. Just a second, guys. Okay, we'll just clear this and let me run the second one. Okay. Now first, where are images? My image is called as full.png. So I'll give the name of this image. Then what is the first text I want to put in this image? Okay. Now actually I cleared it. Okay, I cleared it by mistake. I'll just put a simpler text right now. Okay. So let's say for the first image, I want to give Republic Day. Okay. Second image, I want to give Independence Day. And let's say third image something gibberish. I want to give something random like this. So that is just example right now, doesn't really matter, right? So I'm giving three images like this, and remember the AI is doing these things. So it's prone to a lot of errors, and especially multimodal AI is doing it. Right, so there is many problems of how this is going to work, many different solutions, because sometimes text will be too big and it doesn't understand like this much will fit or not. Sometimes it is small and it will make it too small thinking it's not enough. So we have seen this many times when we're using. Okay, so let's just give a name for this. So I'll just give a testing batch. So this is my multi third AI, that is time series analysis. So after the output, I'll show you output in a second. After that, what is happening? I'm giving a name. Okay. So this batch is saved as 24. Till now, I've saved 24 total images in 8 batches. And most generations was on 20th. This is the analytics part that we were doing. Right. So before that, let's see the output of the images that we got. Okay. Okay. All right. And as you see, as I told, AI does not really understand the borders yet. So it tried to place it somewhere around, but it failed a little bit, right? And similarly, it also messed up in Independence Day. And but this last word, it came up good. It's just small, simple word, so I think it came up good. Right? But you see, there are limitations to how much it can do. But this is the way you can create a multimodal AI. Okay, that can work with text also. It can work with photos also. It can work with videos, audio, anything. So if you can set up a prompt properly like this, and it can edit photos for you based on a workflow that you have. Okay. All right. So this is all the things that as a demo I wanted to show you. Okay. Now let's talk about a few of the automation ideas that you can build with this Gen AI powered windsurf and tools that you have. Now, well, I want to talk about this in general because I want you guys to spark your minds and understand like, okay, this is all the things I can do. This is what power I can get from learning Gen AI, right? So in order to understand that, let's explore these ideas a bit. Say if you say customer support, it's a big field that people are constantly using technology in. So customer support is very beneficial for AI. We already showed a use case for this intent classification, right? Where a message is coming, you can first get the intent, then give it to a specific team. You can extend this in many ways. Let's say you're in a car showroom and a person suddenly breaks down the car. You can directly take their message, and if it is an emergency message, you can send it in a faster channel. So all of these things are possible in customer support and Gen AI. Okay. Then text generation context. Now text generation is simple. You go to GPT, you ask a question, you'll get the answer. But what can you do with this? Where all can you directly augment this is the good solution, right? So you can give a little bit of personalized text generation. You can write chatbots that can reply back in a preset this thing, but doesn't have to be word by word, right? So usually you'll get templated mails where as a company we are going to talk to other companies. So when the first point of contact happens, you should write some email over there which is not informal, but it should not be small also, right? So what we usually do is we have a template. We'll tell this is the company's name, generate me an email which includes all of these things. And every time we run that, it's different. It is not going to be the same answer. Every time it's going to be a little bit different. So that is what we want, right? So every time we're going to generate different emails and send it to different people. Okay, that's a just simple example of what context you can use. And then finally, personalization. Now, this is very important for India, especially. Why? Because there is so much diversity and different things that in India, that is a big hindrance to how we work together, right? So that is why AI can personalize things very easily. So we are working on a solution, right, similar to this, but how we can see it is, if you have, like, if think of your Amazon, when you browse on Amazon, right? When you come out of it in Google, you see the recommendations. So that is a recommendation AI. That's a recommendation engine. Okay, similar to that, you can get personalization engines which track what you are doing and then give you options based on that. Like you can do apply personalization many places. I'll show you another example. Now this is not 100% AI generated. There is a mixture of AI and normal programming also. Okay, so this is an example which we had created for a client called as SLN Charities right here in Bangalore. Now this version is simple, where you put English, it's going to come in Kannada, come in Kannada. But what happened in between, like this content was keeping updated every time, right? So there is one AI chatbot in here which is not for everything. Everything is already preset directly. The words, everything are preset. But we have used one AI over here where about the chairman, this message was keeping on changing. So what we did, we put an AI chatbot. Whenever the message changes, give the appropriate translation in Kannada. Okay, so this is an example which I'm showing you, where everything else is preset already. Everything else is directly set. It is rendered preset, simple printing. But this simple message that chairman is supposed to give, every time it is going to change. So every time we cannot hire a content creator and convert it into the language, right? So we just give it to an AI. This is the context. This is how last time it was there. Generated similarly. So you can use this thing in many different ways. Okay, so there's just ideas I want to give it to you guys and how you can make use of it. Now, okay, customized emails. Yes, Pranita, that's a very good idea, where you can give a prompt like, say, this is me, this is the information I want to give, and this is the second party. Write an email similar to this, and you can customize it for multiple parties also. So this is the email I have sent for party A. Make a similar email for party B and keep it a little bit more customized. Right. So all of these things you can customize using the text generation ideas. Right. Okay. So I guess this is all the theory actually that we are going to be learning. Now we are going to start the practicals in a second. Before that, let's take a couple minutes of break and we will get back and we will learn how to use Windsurf to create our own bot, our exam analyzer bot. Okay, right. So let's take a short break. I think if let me just open this, right, and then we will come back to just 2 minutes, guys. I think Tushar should be here, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, Tushar. So let's take a 2 minutes break and we'll get back.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I hope this session, this much will be helpful for you. I'll putting a question in the chat box. Just reply. Yeah. So simplify work. Okay. Ads, Abhishek. Okay, great. Guys, show some enthusiasm. Okay. Ads, then again solving errors. Okay, great. Yeah, it's digital marketing. Yes, obviously. How to handle out Mohammed? How to handle out our day-to-day routine. Yeah. Some more enthusiasm people. Lead generation. Okay. More Josh guys. Daily Pranita, daily status and report to be prepared on the time. Yeah. It's a must requirement for any job role. Safe system in our cyber. Wow. Fixing my sleep schedule. Okay. Sharon. Okay. IoT implementation. Great guys. Automating work. Yeah. We all are here for automating our work to reduce our redundancy in the work. Some more custom WhatsApp app message agent. Yeah. Okay. Certificate links will be shared to you at the end. More Josh guys. Okay. Bring some more replies. Quick gather and summarize research on competitors and trend. Okay. May I know how many are students or working professionals here? Make communicate between two AIs and bot. That's very complex. After this, they are learned to about the yes students. Oh, lot working professional. Okay, Swagat, Swaran, working professional. Harsh, Mohammed, Shreya Kumari, working professional. Great, Shreya, you're replying. Yeah, most of them students, working professional. You also reply. Till now, how many bots did you create? Okay, I am also creating bots for myself. Also. Working professional, student. Okay, yeah, we have the quite equal proportion of student and working professional. AI is the need of everyone, you a student or working professional. I'm a security student. That's great, Sayan. Good field. Working for medical writer. Oh, bot to look for book an appointment. Take it, yeah. Kritika, sorry if I pronounce wrongly. Nitish, if possible, you could give the context. Okay, it will provide it to you. Some more replies, guys. Okay, how many of you are using the GenAI tools? Which tools there people are using?
Chat GPT only we know, Tushar, as of now. So far, I know Chat GPT, I know Google Gemini, and we know Microsoft Copilot. Uh, we know the terms LLMs and all, chatbots, humanoids, SpaceX, DroneX, AIs. We know the terms, but not actually up to the mark or to the extreme level because I browse LinkedIn. So I get to know so many terminologies, but not actually more. Yeah, we know
No
apps
worries,
as
ma'am.
well.
We are here for GenAI tools to upskill
Yeah,
everyone.
Mid Journey, Canva, Easy Peasy, where we can upload our resumes. But yeah,
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
quite of tools you are utilizing. That's great. Everyone is utilizing that. I got the replies. Grok, Meta AI, Meta AI,
yeah, Metaverse, right? Facebook's Meta. I think
11.
Misty is waiting for us to stop, and he wanted to start. He's already in.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So I think a lot of AI bots people have used. That's wonderful to know. You guys are keeping up with the industry and using all of this, even niche things like Elven Labs and Perplexity. That's very nice. All right. Okay, I think I had a question over here. You wanted Abhishek, you want to know about MCP. Yes, MCP is actually very strong tool right now that Claude has developed, Model Context Protocol, where you can have your AI directly understand your servers, right? It is similar to REST API where we are establishing communication between two things. So MCP is like a framework that is going to allow your APIs to be hooked onto your LLMs or write that framework in between and connect to different tools. It's more like a standardized version that you could do before also with LLM index or Llama index, but now you can do in a standardized version using MCP. Okay, but it's going to be a very strong tool with its clients like Cloud Desktop or VS Code or Cursor. So these clients are, if you integrate it with MCP, it's going to be absolutely strong in automating your entire server. Okay, right. Okay, all right. So let's start with our exam analyzer bot. Okay. Now, before we look into the bot, let me first show you guys what data we are going to use. Okay, now I'm going to show you, okay, where is this? A simple CSV file I have right now. Okay, so let me just reshare it because it's only sharing my PPT. Yes. So I have a very simple CSV file over here. It has admission number, student name, marks obtained, max marks. Simple things, right? Let's actually make this even more simple. We'll tell student. Okay. And is it stuck? No. And we'll call this as marks. I will call this as maximum. I want better names over here. That's it. Okay. So we have four columns over here with some things. Now, as a statistician, if you come in the like complete workflow of statistics first, what if I give you a question like draw me a bar chart? Okay, draw me a bar chart to distribute all of these marks. You will start with a simple pen and paper first without doing tech. You will start plotting your x-axis and your y-axis. You need to know your x-axis is going to be, let's say, student admission number. Your y-axis is going to be marks, right? So this goes from 0 and this will go to 100. And where if 78 is here, one person will be here, other person will be here, 22, 65. Like this, you start plotting. So this is a process that statisticians do. Now, if you know this logic, if you know exactly what you want to do, you can give this to AI without having to write code. There is Python code that can do this. There are many libraries in Python like Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly. You can do all of these things. Okay. So I know these libraries, but I am not going to write code. Instead, I'm going to give this data set to Windsurf and I'm going to tell it to generate a program, a Python script for me that will automatically take. I have one more file like this. Later, we'll put that one also. See, similar structure, different data inside. Okay, so we'll put one by one. It'll take one of these files and generate a graph for me. We'll give multiple graphs, like find me the top ranker, find me the top 5 people, then give me the distribution in one. And we can ask for one more thing. We can ask for a, let's say, a violin chart. If you guys have heard about violin charts, it's a chart that will show you the median curve. Okay, so we can use all these kinds of distributions and we don't have to worry about doing it ourselves. So this is the data. I want to standardize it first. So this is simple data that we're going to add it. We don't have much things. We have one more file I have like this. There's another version has similar data over here. So we're going to do this later on. Okay. So first let's start with the first data. Now after doing this, the logic we know, right? For an exam analyzer bot, what is the logic? It should pre-process or it should engineer the marks from the student database first. Then it should give me a measurement of their rank and it should rank everyone and should measure their marks, like find their GPA, find their percentages and all these things, right? And it should also visualize, draw me charts, and then it should give a feedback on their scores. Okay, so this AI should do all of these things within like a simple steps that will follow. Okay, right. So in order to create this, we set up an environment prior to this. We have Python ready. We have the analysis that we want to do. We have our data and we have Windsurf, right? So okay, I opened something else, right? So let's start Windsurf. Okay. Now, Okay, this has my old files that I have. Don't worry about that. Now I'm going to open a different folder over here where we are going to add all our data. In this src folder, I'm going to select this where both my files are there. Let me just check it. As you see, we have src and both are data.csv, data2.csv. So we have both of these over here. Okay. So now in Windsurf, first of all, this is the Windsurf editor. Okay, so if you people have used Visual Studio Code or Z or either Cursor, you will see this out approach or this dashboard is very similar. You have the file manager, you have your command palette below, right, and then you have your uh, text chat to the right side. So this is the most important part. In Windsurf, there is a feature called as Cascade. Okay, so Cascade is a tool inside Windsurf that is going to create code for you. It is going to create files, write code, and also execute code in the terminal. It will ask you first, you accept what you have to do, and then it has the power to execute also. Now there it is built based on one more tool called as Claude Desktop. Claude Desktop is the most powerful one out there. It is a premium tool that not many people in general public use. Okay, so based on Claude Desktop, how powerful that is, little bit like at least half of that Cascade can do. Okay, so let's start writing. Now, before we actually write anything over here, we need to understand the complete this one prompt. Okay, so we have to engineer a prompt for this. So similar to how you give a prompt on ChatGPT or how you give a prompt on any of the LLMs you have used, the first point of all of this talking to AI is about prompt engineering, where you have to be able to make a good prompt. Okay, and like I told before, talking to an AI should not be considered the same thing talking to a human, because we humans are more smart. Right? Even if I make a mistake, a grammatical mistake, or if I make a complete logical mistake, the other human is smart enough to usually figure it out like this guy is not talking about what he's telling. He's making a mistake. But AI will not think that. Right? If you make a mistake, AI will think, no, that's not a mistake. It is a right thing. So when you're talking with AI, you have to be very clear and concise. So we have a couple of points that we keep in mind. We first write about the intent, then about the task, and about the context. So you have to give these three things. Okay, you have to give the thing that you have to achieve, the actual intent you want to achieve, then the steps to achieve that, then the extra context required that will help in achieving this. Okay, so let's write our prompt here with Cascade. Okay, yes. Okay, let me open the chat. Yes, actually, Abhishek, if you have used Blackbox, this is very similar to Blackbox. This is built, and Blackbox and Windsurf are both using the same logic behind Cascade. Cascade is a tool, but even Blackbox has something similar to Cascade that works on the way of a Claude Desktop, where it's called as iterative analysis, where after running each and every line, after giving its response, it is going to run it first, get the answer, and give you the result. Like this is what is going to happen if I run this response. So that logic which Cloud Desktop built, Blackbox uses the same logic, and before that, even many couple of things. Devin also talked about same logic, but I don't think Devin actually uses that logic. But Windsurf, Blackbox, and there was another, I think, lovability, or there are two things, lovable and lovability, two things like that. They also use the same logic, where after giving a command, it is going to run that command in its own environment, figure out whether that command is right or wrong, and then give it to you. Like this is what's going to happen if I do this. Then you, as a human, will just agree, yes, do this. That's it. Okay, so that is how the entire thing works. Okay, so let's write our command for this. Yes, no, Copilot is different. You see, Copilot is it's like a bird generator, which is where you're going to generate the code based on what you have. These tools like Cascade and Blackbox are much more stronger than Copilot. They're not just giving you an answer, they're capable of running this answer also. They're capable of making new files, putting code in the file and saving it themselves. So this all these things was invented by Cloud Desktop. They showed like how you can create files, how AI can generate things. It can do many things right now. You can control your OS, right? So it has that much power, more than Copilot. Okay. CSV dataset I've just created it. It is a very simple random number. There is not actual data in this. It's just random numbers, random names, numbers, everything. So don't worry about the actual data. And if you want a repository of collecting good data sets, Kaggle. Okay, try Kaggle, and there even TensorFlow has some data sets, but very limited. But the biggest repository of data set, if you want data for machine learning and anything related to AI, Kaggle is the best place. Okay, right. Now let's get back to this. Let's start writing our prompt. So what do I have to tell my system first? First thing I will tell it is create a Python based data analyst bot. Okay, so this is my intent, what it is going to do. Now I have to tell what all tasks this bot will do. Okay, so this bot will take input, will okay, we'll just directly will read a CSV file called as, we'll give this, remember this thing, when you're giving this words like called as or name, it has to match exactly. You cannot make any mistakes over here, because AI reads this as strings or literals. It has to match properly. Okay, so we'll just give it like this, data.csv. So take a bot will read a file called as data.csv. Then usually I have run this prompt once, and what I have faced is it makes mistakes in understanding the names, because that is a human problem. It's not AI problem. Humans usually name things very weirdly, so from the name it cannot guess. So usually we give the names also. Okay, so for this I will give the names. Later on, if you have much bigger complex use cases and it is more like descriptive, means you can skip the names. But right now mine is a very simple thing, just four columns, and the columns are all like uh, ambiguous in name. Right, so I'll just give the names over. Okay, just a second. All right. So we'll just say with columns. Okay, so I'm just going to list the names over. I'm not going to give any kind of code. This is just listing of the names. Okay, so let's see the names that we have. So we have admission, student, marks, maximum. So we'll just copy this much, and I hope I can just paste it over here. No, I cannot. Okay, so we'll say admission, student, marks, and what was the last one? Maximum. Okay. So these are the columns in my data set. Now I want to, I don't want, I'm just going to say a program over it, because I don't want to tell I want. I want to tell the program what it has to do. Okay. Program to, first, we'll see the first part, generate a distribution chart using. Now this again, why I'm giving using is because there are many options over here. The bot will usually go for simple bots usually go for matplotlib, but I've used libraries in backend, and in order to show better results, always plotly gives you interactive and better charts. Okay, so I'll say generate a distribution chart using plotly. So this is my entire logic. I'm going to put more things later on as we go. We are going to make this better in after first round is done. Okay, but this is my entire plot. I'm not going to write anything more than this. Okay, so first we just click enter over here. Now this will take my input and it is going to start generating files over here. Okay, so the first part you will see, it is going to generate a file called as requirements.txt. So this is all the libraries that my Python project will use, plotly and pandas. Okay, as you see what is happening in the right hand side is running code for me, and left hand and middle part is going to give an accept feature, and the left part is my file manager. But this accept feature is what windsurf is unique for, because this feature was not there in the devin or other tools before this. uh, Windsurf added this feature, and now I think many tools similar to Windsurf also has this feature. Even I think I've not used the full version of Lovable, but I've used a smaller version of Lovable, and they don't have this feature yet, where it will make the decision. It is not going to give anything, it will make the decisions. Okay. Why is it said it's going to create a CSV file, but you see, when it tried to fix an error. It tried to generate CSV, but I already have a CSV. So it cannot create a new file. So now it figured out that, okay, the file already exists. So let me just use it, right? And it is also creating a README. Usually as developers, we don't like to write all of this README files. It is just unnecessary documentation is what we feel. But an AI is not going to feel bad, right? That is its work. It is going to do that. Unnecessary documentation it is going to do. Okay. Right. Now it has done all the things, and now look at it is giving me a terminal command. So this is what is the power of a AI that can run code. It can also run a command for you. If I click accept over here, that is this is going to run a command called as pip install requirements. But I have run so many Python programs in my system that I already have Plotly and Python, so I don't have to run this. Okay, so I'm just going to click X. I don't have to run this; it's already there. Now after this, what it is going to do? Now it's going to tell me have the required columns. It has to have these columns, right? Then install the requirements using pip install, then run. So the file it has given me is called as data analyzer.py. So I have to run data analyzer.py after putting my CSV file in the same folder. That's it I have to do. Okay, so we got to know what our final call is, right? So let's go over here. Let's go to where it has generated. As you see, it has generated my files over here, data analyzer and bot, right? So since we already have all of this installed, I'm just going to directly run it over here. Okay. Now I'm using Anaconda for the people who want to know. I'm using Anaconda prompt. That is why you see a different variable over here. That's why I'm not going to run an environment. I can directly go and run the file. My file is called data analyzer.py, right? So let's go ahead and run Python data analyzer. Okay. Why is it showing me differently? Sorry. Okay. Python data analyzer.py. So we're going to run this command, and this will take my CSV file, do all the analysis, and it is going to generate a marks.distribution HTML file. So when we open this file, you will see the marks, right? So this is where my analysis is. So I didn't write one line of code for this. I just gave the data set. So it took the data set, it generated things like this, right? Where the mean of the marks is and all the students that have gotten this specific marks, right? Okay. So as you see, this is why I wanted Plotly, because Plotly is a much stronger library. It creates HTML files, and on top of that, it also allows you to hover over things and understand, zoom in. So everything is there in Plotly. That's why Plotly is a much better graphing library. Okay. Now let's create some variations in this. The first thing I want to do is changes. I'll write changes over here. Okay. So I'll say open. Okay, let's actually make more changes because I don't want something just this simple. I want a little bit more changes. Okay, so we'll put changes and we'll tell make a CLI command line interface that asks three options. Okay, first option, show uh, top three rankers. So top three ranks. Okay, of student and admission number. We'll include, we'll see what it can do because I don't want to write so many things, right? So we'll just write top three ranks enough. Okay. And then we will write the second one that will show the distribution graph, but auto open it because right now what happened, did you guys see it generated? I went and opened. So I'm telling here, instead of doing that, auto open it to me, auto open the graph after generated. This is actually a possibility in Plotly. I know it is possible. That's why I'm telling it, okay, do this because it's anyways it is possible, right? Now we'll give another task. So it will give me three options. When I select one, it is going to do all of any of these things. Okay. Show distribution graph. And then we want to do one more thing. So what is one more thing we can analyze on student data, right? So we can analyze, show me the list of people who failed. Now field below, let's keep this thing 35. Okay. So we'll give these three options. Now, this is how it is going to augment my code. So as you see, we will first let's keep these things, let it edit by itself. I wanted to accept all of this and start editing. Okay, so this is what is generated before. Now it is going to edit these files into generate a much better code for me, which is having these options, and it can handle all of these rankings and give me the list of people who failed, right? So it is going to edit the file for me over here, and it can do everything. Like I you see the code that is writing it PD, it's using pandas. For some reason, it's using a web browser. So there is a small mistake. It is a wrong direction it is going. But as I know like how this works. I can understand it's going in the wrong direction because of one problem. Okay, this is the problem it did. It used web browser dot open, which is not a good thing. Now, why AI did this is up to the AI. I don't really know like why it went to this path, but usually as a human programmer, what we do over here is in Plotly, right? Whenever you make a HTML file like this, you can just generate comma auto open. Auto open is equal to true, and you don't really require this. But let's keep it like this right now. Let's take the AI's input right now, right? Let's see what the AI actually thinks, what it thought, and what it can do right now, because I don't want to change what the AI has done, right? So did it do things? Okay, so let's just keep it this much. So this is the second variation of my program. So let's run this program right now. Let's test it out and then we will see, right? Okay, so as you see, it is giving me three different choices, right? So I'll give one. It should give me the top three ranks. So these are the people. Now we can just go over here, and I have actually made the people like that. I have not given actual names. So you can see this is the person with the maximum marks, WVX95. That is proper. Then MNO 87, then ABC 78. So this is the distribution of top three ranks, right? Now if I press 2, it should open that graph for me, but depending on that web browser, okay, that web browser version also worked. So this is just another way of doing things that I learned from LLM right now, right? So I'm able to load the graph too. Then let's see the failed student list. So these are students who have failed right now. Okay, so now we'll exit. So we have created this entire solution that can do this for us. Let's do one simple step right now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give a different name for this. Okay, the reason is it's already open somewhere. So let me save it and close it. And hopefully we can give a different name. Yes, because I don't want data, old data, I don't want it to be used. Let's use a different data set so the results are looking different, right? So remember, this is my old results. This is how it looked. Now we'll use this data set, and I think the names are different over here. So let's go and update the names first. Okay, so this will be student. Okay, student, and this is marks, and this we give, I think, maximum, right? So we're going to give these names exactly, and I'm not going to do the same windsurf again because we already generated everything. But now we have a new data set. And what is the issue? Okay, the issue is it is called as data 2. To call this as data. Okay. So now we have our new data set, and let's try to analyze this. So now we see three different ranks: student 4, student 2, student 8. Right. So these are different students with different ranks, different data sets altogether. Right. Now let's see the second distribution graph. So as you see, this distribution graph is different from this one, right? So the mean of this is 61.5, mean of 61.3. This is how the distribution second one, this is the distribution first one, right? Now let's see the people who have passed, failed. There's only one student who have failed, right? So this is a very simple Python script for me that is going to analyze all of these specific things, right? So we have generated this. We have done a data analysis for us without touching a single line of code. All of these things is possible with Windsurf and the current LLM architecture that is there. Okay. So this is how you can use Windsurf to create any ideas that you have seen in this session or any ideas that you have. Please download Windsurf, have some data set that if you want to do data analysis on, or if you don't want to do analysis, you can directly write your issues in Cascade. And Cascade will help you with most other things. Okay, biggest situation where it is better than Copilot is it can write code, it can run commands, and it can give you an overview. And a very important part about this is that it is hooked onto Claude 3.5, which is state of the art right now. So 3.5 Sonnet is probably the world's best LLM right now to generate code. It is right there. I think you can use many things, other things also. You can write Gemini Flash, or you can try with R1. R1 has good credit limits, but I think if you use 3.7, it is 1.25. You need double credits, almost like double credits for that. And there are some things which are low also. There's Cascade base for cheap things, right? So you can do all of this. Or if you have Llama, if you have a good system with hardware and graphic cards, you can hook into Llama over here. You can do everything without having to pay for cloud storage. Okay, all right. So this is all the topics that we have learned. Now I want you guys to research further in this topic, research specifically about MCP. I think we already heard about this in the session, or Model Context Protocol, which is going to be the future of how AI or backend APIs are going to be written. Then a few tools like Zapier NA10, which is also going to allow you to automate your workflows. Now, none of these tools are obviously not completely free. They have paid tiers, but Zapier has a very good free tier integration that we can use. Okay. And then we have our agentic AI workflows that you can create AI agents, and generative AI and agentic AI is very close. But I would say the only difference is agents means taking your Gen AI and putting and giving a proper workflow to it. Like telling where Gen AI should be used is an AI agent. The context or the place or the complete workflow of how you're using your AI is what AI agent is capable of. Okay. Right. So these are future that you guys can learn and how you can plan for it. Right. So that comes to the end of our webinar. We have learned a lot of concepts. We have seen practicals of how we can run our own projects. Right. Now, if you guys have any doubts or any question answers that you want to converse with me or to ask me or anything related to this field, this is our Q&A time. Okay. Right. Let me just open the chat. Okay. Sorry. And I want to keep this thing on your screen, guys. Like, yeah, you can scan this, I guess. Where is my screen? Yes. So you can scan this QR codes right now for getting the feedback forms and getting your certificates and getting in touch with the team. Okay. All right. Yes. So again, I'm telling you, if you guys have any issues, if you guys have any doubts with anything we have spoken till now, you can ask me right now. I can clear it, or anything that you have as a good idea that I want to clarify, or you can, use it. It's always
Yes,
welcome.
Nitish, I have a doubt actually. We have,
Yes.
like you have shown us example, right, in the Excel sheet with four columns and tabular form. So
Hmm.
chatbot in the sense when we call to somebody over the phone and it is going to make us hear the interactive voice recording like, hello, how are you? We are calling from so and so institute. The
Hmm.
automated one which we hear, right, from
Hmm.
the phone, like from the institute or
Hmm.
from
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
company, which we hear automatically from the robo or IVR one.
Yes,
Is that
IVR.
called robo? That is called bot, chatbot. So usually I'm thinking chatbot means what we hear over the phone, like when we call to some
Hmm.
people or somebody calls, right? I'm calling from so and so. Click one, click two for
Hmm. Hmm.
English.
Hmm.
Is that called chatbot, or the one which you have shown us now, the pictorial representation or histograms you have shown us, right?
Hmm.
Statistical forms, that is also called chat. That is not chatbot, that is output. But the
Yes.
generating, when we have given Excel sheet uploading the to the right side of you, the code is being generated, that is called
Hmm. Hmm.
chatbot actually.
Yes. Yes. The
Okay,
word chatbot is actually very ambiguous. You can use it for different scenarios.
different
But the
thing.
first
Okay.
thing that you told, like when you call someone and they'll press one to talk, that is not
Ha, ha,
chatbot.
ha.
That is an IVR solution where it does
Okay.
not know your answer. It does not know what you will tell. Instead, it is just giving you some options. That's it. Okay, so that's not
Okay.
a chatbot actually. But chatbots are there are many chatbots right now with not even connected to AI. Before even AI existed, we had chatbots prior to that also, which use transformer models and BERT and things. Like if you have your Apple Siri, And there was Siri in Apple, and there was Google, okay Google, before
Alexa,
AI became so big. So those are
Amazon
chatbots,
Alexa.
right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So those are all chatbots that without AI also they are still working in questioning and in answering your questions. But if a true chatbot means it has to have knowledge. A true chatbot till now that we have seen the best example is ChatGPT, where it is thinking and it is answering based on the query that you have given, right? So if you want
Okay.
to use chatbot in technical term, we only call it for things that can get your query, analyze it, and give it a response. Technically, that is a chatbot. But you can use the word chatbot for many things. Even sometimes IVRs are also called as chatbot. Also, many people market it like that, but technically, a chatbot has to have intelligence to answer you back. Okay.
Got it. Thank you so much, Nitish.
Yes. Thank you, Panaveta. Yes.
Myself Abhishek.
Sorry. Can you
Hello.
repeat that?
No, just myself Abhishek. So I want to
Yes,
discuss some of
Abhishek.
the things. So now we are using Windsurf as per the language Python only, or we can use other languages as well, like SQL.
You can use any other language, but the issue over here is SQL is not going to be a good fit over here because SQL cannot generate graphs for you, right? So why I have picked Python is because it has so many libraries that generally you can do almost everything in Python. If you're not worried about doing things in millisecond times, where you're not making something that millions of people will use, right? That's not something we are going behind. Instead, what we are worrying about is taking a problem and finding a solution for it. The best language for that is Python because there is you are removing all the implementation problems, you're removing static typing, you're removing memory problems, all of that you're not worrying. Instead you're just working on the finding a solution for the business problem that you have, right? So that's why Python is a good pick over here. But if you want, you can do the same thing in any language. You can put Golang, you can tell it to generate things in Golang or generate things in C++. So anything that is capable of having graphing libraries and doing simple variable mathematics. But SQL cannot plot graph for you. SQL, if you have a database, a SQL database,
Yes.
you can write SQL commands for that and you can query data, but it cannot generate graphs for you.
And
Okay.
now, if I need
Hmm.
one key challenge here, so
Hmm.
if I need to retrieve last year's data,
Hmm.
now we are using a bot.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if I want to use this particular data after 2 years, because I want to see alumni, let's say
Hmm. Hmm.
example. So then how we can leverage this bot?
If you want to retrieve 2 years prior data, that is nothing but a different data source, right? What
Yeah.
I have given
Oh,
data source right now is a CSV file. So my data
yes,
is
yes.
inside that. Instead of giving that CSV file, you give 2 years old data. That's it,
No,
right?
no, no.
Hmm.
I want to just now make it fully production ready now. Let's
Hmm.
imagine it is production ready. The bot is production ready. Now I want to connect data. Again, I have to take a file from that database and I have to upload here.
Hmm.
Instead, how we
Hmm.
can automate those things? Like I want to analyze
Hmm.
this
See,
year.
that comes with
What?
SQL. If you already have a
Yes,
production
that's what.
database that is already done in SQL and you know the command to generate that data, right? Usually you will have an SQL select query and you can add a where statement
Yes,
that
yes,
select from this year to this year. So you write the statement prior and you get the data first because all of this has to be done in multiple steps. Whatever you
yes,
want to analyze, getting the data is the first step. Right now, I have given the prompt specifically from CSV. So what my bot did, it went to pandas. It's a library which is
yes.
working for CSV. But
Correct.
if I am telling instead of CSV file, go for SQL, it is maybe going to give SQL Alchemy, which is another library which you can do the same
Yes,
thing. So you can connect with SQL database, get your SQL commands written by the same AI and run that commands. So that workflow is what you have to know first. Before whatever you are
yes,
doing, if you know this workflow, what you want to do, you want to collect last year's data, do some analytics on it and show it. The workflow for
yes,
that goes first connect to your SQL database with some credentials. Maybe it is in MySQL, you'll get the link, right? So add the link,
yes,
connect to the database with an ORM like SQL Alchemy, get the data, then make the charts. So this workflow is what you as a prompt engineer has to know. Once you put the
yes,
same workflow in this Windsurf, it is going to generate the code for your use case also. Okay, but there are many things in here. You have to make sure that your data is coming from a source that is
yes.
online, that is available. Right? We can connect through a link. Usually Postgres databases you connect to a link. So you connect through a link, get the same data again. If you want to, you can make your own CSV file from that, download all the data first, make it into CSV and then do the same thing. So all of this, what you're doing is based on the logic that you prepare first. This is the workflow that I want to create. Map
Okay.
that workflow in your mind, then convert it into English prompt and then give it to the AI. Okay.
Okay.
That's the important workflow that you have to maintain, right?
This windsurf is only for visual. It will be only for visualization purpose, or we can
No,
like
no,
work on
Windsurf can do
ML.
everything. Windsurf is an IDE. Think of it like an
Okay.
IT. It's like Visual Studio Code, but instead of you doing things, it is going to generate the code for you. So it can do all the things VS Code can do.
Okay. Fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Okay. So I guess